Hello, my fellow humans, and welcome back to Scatter Love Tarot with your girl, coming at you with another pick a card reading. We are all here sharing this human experience together, and this is a safe space to show up as your highest, most aligned, loving, authentic selves. I do things differently here on this channel, so with that being said, if the message does resonate, it would mean the world to me if you were to like, comment, and subscribe below. Triggering statements may arise on the readings themselves. There's no obligation to force it to fit, while keeping in mind that triggers are a beautiful blueprint for us to deepen our healing journey. If you are interested in supporting the channel further, you will find everything you need in the description box below. I would like to say a very special thank you to Alex and to Cameron. I am so blessed, and I just hope that you both know how much you mean to me. So putting that out, today we are asking what is hidden that needs to come to light. This is something that's been on my heart for this entire day, and it's kind of funny. Well, it's funny, not funny, but I was actually going to take the day off because I have this weird injury in my arm, and I ended up resting all morning, and then this reading kept coming on my heart. It kept coming up and popping up and popping up and popping up and popping up, and I was like, okay, I know that I need to do this. And so when I made the decision to do it, I felt much better, and I was like, okay, I've got the energy to do this. So I do feel like this is something that someone somewhere is needing to hear at this time. Okay, so we are going to be using the Wild Unknown Animal Spirit Oracles today by Kim Kranz. We're going to get one of those, but let's hop to our prayer first, and we will get this reading underway. Okay. My beloved source, this prayer is for anyone and everyone who comes onto this channel, whether it's for a moment's time or for the entire time. I ask that you bless all the people here in miraculous ways and help us come into a state of calm, collected, grounded surrender so that we can fearlessly step forward on our journey ahead, knowing that even if we're not certain, if we're not clear about what's next, that it's okay, we don't need to be. That each step we take is a step that we were meant to take, even if it feels shaky, wobbly, or even if we trip. That every step that we've taken thus far and every step we will take in the future will ultimately get us to where we're meant to go. And that it's important to trust, and that while we have no control over outcomes, that we can place our faith upon your shoulders, knowing that you will get us to what is going to serve our highest good, and you will help bring into our lives exactly what it is that we need at any one given moment. We're not asked to be perfect. We're not asked to be flawless. We're not asked to even be masters. You ask that we take a step, uncertain, unsure at the very beginning, and always adapt to a student's mindset, a beginner's mindset. And so I ask that you give us all the courage to embrace this journey as it is, with love, with truth, with honor, and with our integrity intact. As these words are spoken upon this collective and onto this reading, so shall they be. Amen, aho, ase. Thank you, thank you, thank you, my beloved source. Thank you. All right, so I might be shuffling a little bit different today just because of my arm. Even though I felt better, it still is achy, and yeah, so we're just gonna see how it plays out. What is hidden that needs to come to light? What oracle card will help us better understand this message today? What is hidden that needs to come to light? Okay, thank you. What is hidden that needs to come to light? All right, we'll try my best. Okay, too many. This one. What's hidden that needs to come to light for pile 2 source? Okay. For pile 3 source, what's hidden that needs to come to light? Thank you. All right. Thank you, Source, for making that easy. On the bottom of the deck, interesting, we have the vulture energy. You know, and vultures, this card actually, I think, came out not that long ago in another reading, and that energy is still present, right? Nothing is wasted. And it's interesting, we were talking about that in the prayer too, right? Like every step we take, even if it feels like a wrong step, it's not. It is a step that gains us wisdom, experience, knowledge, truth. It helps us to see clearly about ourselves and what's next. And we can have really low energy days, right? And that's okay. Like, that's a part of the journey. We can have incredibly high energy days, and those are equally okay. It's a part of the journey. And most of the time we might fall somewhere in between that spectrum. And that is equally so a part of the journey. But it feels like there's this energy where there's people here who are questioning what it is that's happening in their lives. Like, are they truly making progress? Are you truly going the distance? Are you truly overcoming the things that have happened in your past? Are you changing your future? Are you embracing your present? And it's, while it might be so good, or it might make us feel a lot more calm if we understood and had those direct answers, that's not what this journey is. The journey is just taking a step back and enduring, being content with, opening up to, releasing, and being present with all that is, however that shows up. Right? So it's like if hardships have been coming into your life, one right after the other, it's not what did you do to deserve these hardships, because you didn't do anything. There's no retribution for a past life that's coming forward. There's no paying back some weird statement that you might have said at one point in your life. It's just life. It's life happening. And no one gets out of this free from experiencing life. But with vulture, it can feel like this is something that is ominous and unbearable and scary, and as though I should be waiting for my impending doom. But the truth is that we're never ever given more than we can shoulder or handle in our lives. But our minds convince us regularly that it's too much for us, when after we get through it and we're out on the other side, we might look back and be like, wow, that wasn't quite as challenging as I had initially believed it to be. And this is showing that sometimes the darkness or the shadow is actually where we find the most light, when we allow ourselves to explore that aspect. Everybody's so busy running away from the shadow self, right? The things that we did in the past that are heavy or may not seem like we were very kind, or that made us look less than perfect, right? What's that song by Pink? 'Cause I'm less than perfect. Right? Like, so that's a thing, like, we're all less than perfect. Nobody here on this planet is perfect. No one. And that's the thing, when we honor that, we honor the shadow within us, recognizing that we don't have to be perfect. It doesn't mean we give up trying to be our best self at every moment that we can. What it says is that when we have very human moments, we allow those human moments to pass like the clouds in the sky. We observe them as they arise. And becoming aware of them, we're able to recognize the patterns that arise when those situations or circumstances come back up in our lives, as they inevitably will, right? Like, just because you've had narcissistic people in your life and you've dealt with narcissistic people and now you have the gift of discernment, it doesn't mean you'll never connect with another narcissist in your life. But it means that you've learned how to discern the certain patterns that arise when those people come up into your lives, and thus make an educated and sound decision for yourself moving forward. If you've been betrayed, the same thing. It doesn't mean that you're not ever going to get betrayed before again. What it means is that now you have the wisdom and the experience. Being cheated on, being hurt, going through suffering, having pain, whatever it is, all of these things are part of the human experience. No matter what, we're all going to have those things happen to us at any one point in our lives. But what the past has taught us, and what we've been trying to gain from our past experiences, is the wisdom to face those obstacles head on when they come, instead of trying to find a way to run away from it, or to go around it, or to sidestep it without having to actually deal with it in front of us. Now we're coming into a space of being really sound and grounded in who we are, and saying it's okay for us to stand up for ourselves. It's okay for me to say what I need to say and not feel bad about it, right? And vulture is a perfect example of that, because nothing is wasted, right? Vultures, they are scavengers, and they will eat everything that's left over. It's the circle of life. Everything comes full circle. But it's like, maybe one day, not to be too graphic here, but maybe one day they get a rabbit, okay? But then maybe it's not a huge meal. And if you've ever seen turkey vultures, I'll use turkey vultures as an example because this makes me think of a turkey vulture. They're black and they have silver on their wings and they look like turkeys, but you know they're vultures because they also look like vultures. And so just say it's a flock of turkey vultures, right? Because they flock together. There's always a whole bunch of them together whenever they're cleaning up a carcass. And you figure one day they get a rabbit. Well, if there's 5 or 6 vultures, even if there's 2 of them, that's not a whole lot of food for both of them or for all of them, right? But the circle of life says that you'll be taken care of. And so maybe the next time they get a bear or a deer or, you know, whatever it is. And they're not always guaranteed a big meal. They're not always guaranteed a feast, but trusting that food will be provided. And that's the same for us. It's not necessarily about food, but in some cases it could be. It's just trusting that everything we need will be provided. But what we need can vastly be different from what we want. And we have to let go of the avarice of life, the wants, the desires, and come into a space and asking, is everything I need being taken care of so that I can continue to make progress or step forward or to move about my journey? And not getting so hung up in the avarice, which is something that we as humans often do. We get so hung up in the avarice. And so what Source is saying, what's hidden that needs to be revealed is, are you being stuck on the avarice itself? Are you being stuck on the want itself? Or are you opening up to allowing what is to be and trusting that it will all work out? But working out doesn't necessarily mean the outcome that you desire. It means the outcome that is best suited for you and your journey, which again is something that we ourselves cannot predict, know, or see, because there's always that element of mystery from Source. So let's see what this card has to say from the book. I have that song in my head. All right. Vulture. The Guardian and Purifier. Essential for rebalance. Coming back to that state of grounded balance. It says the vulture is perhaps the most misunderstood creature of all. This intriguing bird balances our ecosystem and prevents the spread of disease. It does the dirty work that no one else wants to do and cleans up our messes. The vulture appears when there's a situation that needs to be purified or brought back into balance. Remember, the vulture is greatly undervalued. What you thought was a mistake or a tragedy is a blessing in disguise. So when in balance, you're clear, and you are revealed wisdom. When out of balance, you can tend to be dramatic and aggressive. To bring into balance, clean your space. Use sage or Palo Santo or anything like that. Even incense will help, okay? So it's misunderstood, right? It feels ominous. Well, if it's not exactly what I want it to be, or if it doesn't come in the exact package I want it to come in, then I don't want it. But how do you know that the thing that's actually meant for you that you need isn't a million times better than the thing that you want? And that's that coming back into balance, re-clarifying what it is that we're truly searching for. Are we searching for freedom, or are we searching for control? And that can be really challenging because we're oftentimes mistaking the want for our control as having freedom, and it's not. But that's just the emotional ego at play, and we have the opportunity to let that go if we trust in the process, okay? All right, so with that, for pile number 1, we do have this dice with the 5th house on it for you to choose from. We have this piece of amethyst. Pile number 2, we have this dice with the 8th house. Or we have this piece of sodalite. Pile number 3, we have this pile with the 7th house on it. Or we have this piece of garnet. So we have pile 1, pile 2, and pile 3. Whichever pile you feel drawn to, that should be the one for you, and I will see you over there. Hello, my fellow human. If you were drawn to this dice with the 5th house on it, or perhaps you were called to this piece of amethyst, or maybe you were drawn to this card during the shuffle, this is going to be your reading on what's hidden that needs to come to light. We're all here sharing this human experience together, and this is a safe space to show up as your highest, most aligned, loving, authentic selves. Do things differently here on this channel. So with that being said, if the message does resonate with you, it would mean the world to me if you're to like, comment, and subscribe below. And if you're interested in supporting the channel further, check out the description box. It'll have everything you need. There may be triggering statements that do arise on the readings themselves. There's no obligation to force it to fit, while keeping in mind that triggers are a beautiful blueprint for us to deepen our healing journey. Also, quickly, and this will happen on this reading for all 3 piles, but I just want to send a shout out to both Cameron and Alex. I just want to say thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. You two are truly a blessing, and I am so deeply grateful for both of you. All right, so with that, let's go ahead and hop to it and find out what is hidden that needs to come to light. Pile number 1. What is hidden that needs to come to light? Source, what would you like to share with us today? What is hidden that needs to come to light? Of course, we're going to start with the 8th house. So we've got the 8th house, we've got Gemini, and we've got Mercury. Yeah. So there's something here that has to do with the shadow side, or with recalling in your power, or something that is a subconscious reaction to certain triggers and certain outcomes in your life, where maybe it's just something that you've done for so long you're not seeing it as a trigger reaction. We're seeing it just as this is a part of the way that I am and there's no reason to change that, or you're just completely unaware of it, and that's okay, right? No judgment here. We've all done that. That's just a part of us on the journey and who we are and what we grew up in, right? We become products of everything that we've gone through, but that doesn't mean that we have to identify with everything that we've gone through. We can very much choose to change. And it's just about becoming aware of something. And I feel like it has to be being aware of how you're talking to yourself, how you see yourself, and how that affects your day-to-day life. And that could be where you're trying to create something new in your life. You're trying to go and, you know, make a change in your life, but there's something here that's holding you back, that is hidden from you, or it's not hidden from you, but you're struggling to bring it to that state of radical honesty, which happens sometimes because it means that we have to acknowledge or honor a part of ourselves that might not be so pretty. It's like, well, I mean, you know, this is happening in my life. This is something that I'm not really appreciative of. I would just rather not see this part of myself at all. And yet when we come to an honest review of ourselves and how we're acting, we allow ourselves to grow even more. And it's through that initial awareness that we're able to change. We're able to make sound decisions moving forward in our lives. And I do feel like you are going to adapt to this rather easily. You're going to recognize it, or you're going to see it very soon. But it could have to do with certain practices that you have. Having to do with, you know, like with the 8th house, we have what's hidden, the mysterious, occult practices, things like that, right? So it could be that you are, you know, the example that they're showing me here is that maybe you are drawing to performing spells or something like that, and you haven't because maybe you are surrounded by a lot of deeply religious people and they're very judgmental of you, and you're just like, but I feel so drawn to do this. It's something that really feels like it resonates with me, and the fear of doing it and being judged is what's keeping you from doing it. And that's being radically honest with yourself. Like, I'm scared of being judged, but I'm not scared of going this direction and doing something that really resonates with me. I think the thing is that a lot of people are incredibly judgmental of what they don't know and what they don't understand. And if you've done your research and you've dug in and you've done something, you know, and you found, say you want to be like a green witch or something like that, you know, and they grow their own herbs and they do everything in the, or a kitchen witch, you know, like something like that. Again, this is just an example. This could be anything. This could be a job that you want, but this was the example that came through very strongly, especially with the 8th house. You know, and it's like you want to do these things, but you're afraid of how you're going to be seen. Remember, you don't have to share that with everybody. Right? You don't have to go around blasting it out to everyone like, oh, I performed this spell and it worked out so well for me. You know, like you don't have to share that with anybody. But if you're always afraid of doing something because you're going to be judged, then here's the thing with people who are incredibly judgmental. They're going to judge you whether you do it or whether you don't. And if, say, years go by and you come back to those same people and you say, well, I never did this because you were like this, you said this to me, the first thing that those same people are going to tell you is like, well, it's your life. I don't know why you're blaming me. You had the opportunity to make a change for you, so I don't know why you did it. They're going to wash their hands of it. So regardless, it's not for us to make them take accountability for how they're showing up. The only thing that we can do is take accountability for how we're showing up in our lives and what we're doing that is right for us, right? There is no right and wrong in life. There's only what's right and wrong for you. But not everybody sees it that way, because the emotional ego drives us to want to be right so that I can be better than someone else. It's like, if I'm right and you're wrong, I feel better about myself because that means that I'm winning. But it's not. It's just the emotional ego taking over and not allowing love to come in, which love is acceptance. Love is all encompassing. And so many people get so driven by the need to be right. And I feel like that's something that's coming up here. It's that you've been surrounded by a lot of people who've been in that type of energy, pile one. And what's hidden is that that very energy has altered the way that you see yourself whenever you take a step for yourself. And so it's hidden in the subconscious, and it's coming out as negative self-talk, or it's coming out manifesting as a deep-rooted fear just for doing the things that you find interesting. That's why I say, always do your research, but make a choice for yourself, because ultimately the people who judge you, they're never going to take accountability for the way that they judged you. They just won't, because they're going to see it as, well, that was your choice. But if you do it, they're going to be like, I can't believe you went against my opinion. You know what? At the end of the day, you have to choose what's right for you. That's just how it comes. And so I feel like what needs to come to light is recognizing how that fear has been affecting you and what type of center stage it's taken in your life. How has it kept you from being honest with yourself? And it doesn't have to be witchcraft. It doesn't have to be spells. It doesn't have to be anything like that. But, maybe it's reading tarot. Maybe it's doing Reiki. Maybe it's doing energy or crystal healing. It could be anything like that that is occult related. It could even be like leaving a religion to go into just being in a state of love, right? Some people don't even understand that. It's like, oh, well, that's not love, but I have nothing against religion. The only thing that I will say this is that religion is famous for using fear to gather followers. And that fear is very deeply rooted in us as a people. And what Source is asking us is to come into a state of love. Love is kind. Love is patient. Love is all accepting. To be in a state of unconditional love means to accept all as they are in this moment without trying to control the outcome of their life. Because we don't have that option. We can't control the outcome of someone's life. It doesn't mean that people aren't affected by it. It doesn't mean that people won't change how they're acting or how they're showing up because of the way people are talking to them or how people are judging them. That does happen. But ultimately, that's when people have given their power away. In the 8th house, Pluto energy and Scorpio energy talks about reconnecting with our own internal power so that we can make the best decisions for ourselves moving forward and be aware of our own actions. What's hidden that needs to come to light, pile one? It's like, even with tarot, a lot of people are really scared about it. They're like, they say all kinds of interesting things about it. And I feel like the thing is that people are just they're gonna continue to be afraid of what they don't know. And that's okay. Let them be led by their fear. You don't have to be, okay? And that's what they're saying here. Yeah, changing the perception here. There's something that was really neglectful for you growing up. Ooh, okay. You're manifesting something really good in your life, okay? And you're not recognizing that this life that you had in the past, the people that were there in your past are no longer going to be there for your future. Like right now, it's about minding how you talk to yourself and how you feel about yourself, because that's where you're going to be gaining the most momentum for your manifestations, okay? It's almost like if you see here, he's tabled the cups and he's tabled the swords. And instead of holding them in his hands, he has a coin and a wand in his hand here, okay? If you can see this. The coin and the wand. And when we think about the coin, that's the physical realm, and the wand can talk about inspiration, it can talk about motivation, it can talk about the fire that burns within us, the passion, it can talk about sexual connection. But mostly the wand is very spiritual because it's something that comes from the ethers. And so it's about reconnecting with ourselves spiritually and letting this be the momentum that helps us manifest in the physical realm while being the observer of our thoughts and our emotions, right? It's not that we're not feeling our emotions. It's not that we're trying to disregard our thoughts, but we're just trying to step back and watch them rather than be run by them and ruled by them. And that also has to do with, there's like a third party here, it feels like, or there's someone here who's refusing to change how they see you, all right? And Source doesn't want to focus so much on this person, but that's the start energy here. There's someone who is absolutely stubborn about how they see you. They see you as the helpless child. They see you as the untalented person. They see you as somebody who was incapable of creating the life that you want, and that you should just give up and go back to being that helpless, mindless type of energy that you once were in, but you're not. You are the one who's changed. But they can't get together with it. With the Three of Cups here, this could be family. This could be, now it's not the family card, but the Three of Cups is the parental card. Okay, and so this could be a parent, this could be a grandparent, this could be a caretaker, but equally so, this could be a child, right? So this could be a grown child who has maybe been in a state of expecting you to always have some sort of, you know, position in their life where they're benefiting and where you're suffering. But, you know, this really feels like an emotional negligence. Like, that's what it feels like. This is someone who is emotionally trying to guilt trip you into not taking a step forward for yourself. There's a lot of silent treatment that's coming in here, where it's like when you decide to do something for yourself, this person or these people give you the silent treatment. They say nothing to you, and it's an expectation that if I say nothing to pile number one, then I'm gonna get my way, because I feel like that's what they've done all this time. Like when they stopped talking to you, when they cut you off, or when they made you feel guilty, then you in your past were going to step up to the plate and be like, oh, let me fix this, let me carry this connection, let me do this. And that's what's going here. And this is you becoming aware of how sideways this process is. You don't deserve that type of negativity in your life. You don't deserve someone who isn't going to cheer you on, blood relative or otherwise. I'm sorry. Sometimes, you know, it's interesting. What was I watching the other day? Punch Drunk Love, I think is the name of the movie. I think that's the name of the movie. It's with Steve Carell. And I can't ever remember the other guy's name. But it's so interesting because I was saying in there, it's like sometimes family is the worst perpetrator, you know, and it's true. Like sometimes our blood relatives are the worst people for us in our lives. And I can't remember what part came up. They're not, but this movie is coming up. So maybe that movie means something to you, but it's also just showing, it's like, you know, at the end when she wanted to get with that guy, you know, her dad was like, no, because I know this guy. He wasn't giving them the benefit of the doubt. And you can understand why. You can understand why, because he saw this guy at his worst possible energy. But at the end, it was like he was trying to control his daughter who was in college and trying to create a lot of friction between them two so that she would get it together and leave. And then it just created a lot of tension between them. But it's like sometimes people do things in our lives with the best of intentions for us, not realizing that it's the worst possible action that they can take for us. Right? And so there's someone here who has this belief that, like, if I can just get pile one to do exactly what I want them to do, whatever that is, then, you know, this is the best possible outcome. So is it manipulation? Yes, it is. But it's also interesting because I'm not getting that this is someone who is like trying to do it because of, like, what is it? Because, like, oh, I'm doing it so that I have an energy supply or something like that. There's just a fear here. There's like a fear of losing you to something. Or like if it's someone really religious, and it was the example that I gave at the beginning, it's a fear of losing you to the depths of hell, right? It's like, that's what this feels like. It just feels like they're stuck in an old way of believing. And if that's right for them, you have to let that be right for them. But even though it's right for them, that doesn't make it right for you. And that's okay. But that acceptance comes with patience, and that acceptance comes with being brutally honest to ourselves about the situation at hand, right? And we see with the 6 of coins here in the reverse underneath the Magician that this is not an equal give and take. This is someone who's being greedy, or this is someone who just doesn't have the capacity to give back to you in the way that you need. And so there's a lot of dissonance here. And what needs to come to light is reconnecting with your internal power so that you can do what you want. Whether that's changing your job, whether that is doing something that is different than you've ever done before, whether that is standing up for yourself, whether that is speaking your truth, whether that is, expressing yourself in a new way. It does not matter what the actual situation is. There's just inhibitions here that are at play where it's like, I'm afraid to be myself, or I'm afraid to step into my truth because I'm afraid of how I'm going to be judged. Okay, yeah, Virgo energy. We have integrity, reverence, and service. The thing is that you're meant to help people, okay? And standing in your integrity, that's the other thing too. It's like, whether people understand you or not, when you're doing the right thing, even for yourself, when no one else is looking, that's you holding a state of integrity for yourself. And that's not always easy, because most people, it's like, I'll do things for myself when no one's looking, but I'll do the right thing when everyone's looking, right? But for you, it's like you're already doing what matters to you when no one's looking, but it's also like stepping into, you're doing the right thing even when people are looking, but it's when people who matter most to you. That's what's trying to come out. I totally got twisted there, but it's the people who matter most to you. It's still doing the right thing with the people who matter most, or hold a really important label in your life. Doing the right thing for yourself, even then, that's still holding integrity for yourself, right? Yeah, trust in the magic with 66 here. It's interesting that 66 would come out on your reading when we were talking about what we started the reading with, because it's like so many people tie a negative connotation to this number. And 6 is all about seeing ourselves through eyes of unconditional love. And it's magnified the more it gets multiplied. And it's also stepping away from the illusion. I can't remember what I came across, and I wish I could remember the website that I found this on, but back when I first started this journey, this was like a decade ago, but back when I first started this journey, it kind of really blew my mind that time all equals 6, right? There's 60 seconds in a minute. There's 60 minutes in an hour. There's 24 hours in one day, which 2 plus 4 is 6. So we have 666. And I remember researching it and finding this explanation that it's because time is the illusion. And so we're stepping away from illusion to recenter into a balanced state of trusting that things are going to work out for us. But we can only do that if we trust in the love we have for ourselves. And it was such a deep inspirational thing that I found, and I never found it again, but it really did impact me so much. And it was just kind of weird to think about that at the beginning, right? But we're so bound by time. We're bound by the illusions. And when we think about the Devil card in tarot too, it's like being bound by the illusions, the temptations, and the thought processes, the obsessions of the world. And maybe temptations are not exactly what people think them to be. Maybe those illusions aren't even exactly what people think that they are, because it's like going deeper than that and seeing what's drawing us away from expression of soul, not what's drawing us away from expression of humanistic energy, but rather our soul energy. So it's like seeing the grid behind the reality. And sometimes that's a really hard thing to do. And this got really deep all of a sudden. And so I hope that that makes sense. But that's what Source is showing me. It's like seeing the grid behind the reality, and almost with trust in the magic, being able to touch that grid and beginning to, for lack of a better phrase here, to manipulate the grid to our advantage. That's what the magic is, right? That's what affirmations are. That's what intentions are. That's what spell work is. That's what prayer is. All these things, you know, with, I can't remember, there's a quote out there, but it says, religions call it prayer, witches call it spells, science calls it experiments, manifestors call it intention. It's all the same thing, just with different labels on it, but it's all the same thing, right? And so it's just reminding ourselves that the sheath that it comes in doesn't really matter, because it's behind the sheath, but everybody gets so fixated on the sheath that it's carried in. It has to look exactly like their sheath, but it doesn't. And that's also what makes the world beautiful, is those different sheaths. And so I feel like that's what Source is saying here, is trusting in that it's not bad just because people don't understand it. Because obviously if it means something to you, there's something that you grasp about it that is meaningful and worth exploring. That doesn't necessarily make it easy, though. Okay, thank you, Source. My arm hurts, and I'm really glad that Source is really accommodating me today by making the cards pop out easily. Yeah, we have Cancer energy here. Soften your heart. I feel like there's a lot of animosities that have been built up towards this person or these people in your life. There's a lot of hurt, and rightfully so, right? Like, of course, because you want people to cheer you on, especially people who are very important to you, want them to cheer you on. But like we were saying earlier, sometimes it's just letting them be on their journey while you take the detour on yours. It's not with hurt, it's not with animosity, it's not with anger. It's just saying, you know what? I just can't follow the path that you're on because I have my own path that I have to follow. And being okay with that and not turning back, not questioning if you did the right thing, because that is knowingly doing the right thing for yourself. What's hidden that needs to come to light for pile 1? Thank you, Source. On the bottom, health. Yeah, taking care of your physical body, your mental body, your spiritual body, and your emotional body here, okay? I will honor the physical vessel that enshrines my soul. This is making sure that you're taking care of you. When you give up what feels good for you, when you give up what feels right for you, you're doing yourself the greatest disservice. And whether or not other people recognize that, it doesn't matter. That's not what matters here. What matters is that you choose yourself above all. And that feels weird in a whole world where we're told to put ourselves on the back burner and take care of everyone else. But, you know, what is it? The curiosity killed the cat. We all hear this, right? And I hope I get this right, but it's like curiosity killed the cat until knowledge placated it. And it's like, love thy neighbor, right? We have that, but we forget that it's love thy neighbor as you love yourself, right? We forget. We get so caught up in the first part of it. You know, we're losing the value of the entirety. I even said this not that long ago. It's like with manifestation, there's so many people out there that are selling bullet points of manifestation. Even with like a twin flame journey, they're selling bullet points of the twin flame journey, and everybody's getting so caught up in those bullet points that we're not even digging deeper. We're not even looking deeper. We're only looking for answers that satisfy the emotional ego rather than digging into the uncomfortable truth. And so there's someone here that's trying to sell you bullet points because they don't want to dig into the uncomfortable truth that maybe what they know to be right isn't right at all. Or maybe there's more to it than what they've ever known, right? So that's what Source is saying here. Yeah, new beginnings, 919. You're ready to start a new chapter of your life. Be open to meeting new people. So there are new people that are coming into your life. Let out with the old and in with the new. Let's see what we've got here. Water. Okay, so you could be a Cancer, a Pisces, or a Scorpio. We have spirituality, emotion, intuition, and compassion. So this is that confirmation. This has to do with something that's very spiritual, something that's very, you know, it's intangible. The actions that you want to take or where you want to go. It's something that's not necessarily physically tangible, but it is valuable. Look at this. Be fearless and bold. I can't make this up. They're saying to take the step. Don't be afraid anymore. Letting go of your fear will get you to where you need to go, right? You're stuck between a rock and a hard place, which is your fear and the unknown. Isn't it better to just choose the unknown than to let your fear rule over you? Because the miracles are endless. Like again with number 6, 15 is 6. So finding that balance, finding that resolution, finding that harmony, but seeing yourself through eyes of love. We have the owl feather here, which I've never noticed before, which is hilarious. But the owl feather, being able to step into the wisdom that's coming from the ethers, that's coming from beyond the spiritual realm, and trusting that everything's going to work out okay with the sunflowers here. Benefics, look at that. Let the blessings unfold. You have so much to offer, but the fear holding you back is just keeping you from offering this and also from receiving those blessings. Also happiness. Wow, what a beautiful energy here. I am aware that being happy means I'm on the right path. If it makes you happy, who cares if anybody else gets it? It doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. As long as you're happy. That's the only thing that matters. That's when the miracles are possible. All of life turns into a possibility. That's when miracles are endless. Simplification, 654. Simplify your life and focus on what truly matters. Declutter your mind and surroundings for greater clarity and effectiveness. So simplifying your life, declutter, letting go of the old and bringing in something new. So let's take a look at your card. I'm going to read this out of the book. We're going to see what it says. Oh, interesting. We've got zebra. Wow. You know, I always think of when zebra comes out, I always think of Madagascar. When, is it Marty? When he's over there and he's like, oh, I want to go with my herd because at least I stand out with my herd. And then all of a sudden no one can find him because, you know, he looks the exact same as everyone else. This is like that blending in, right? Everybody wants us to blend in because it's the nail that sticks out. If you stick out, you're going to get hammered. But maybe life was meant for us to be a whole bunch of crooked nails sticking out all different ways, shapes, ideas, and forms. You know, we weren't meant to fit in. It's just that complacency and people believing that uniformity was better for us, that's what kept us living small. I actually watched the animated Addams Family last night, and that's another thing that's coming up. Is like she was trying to create that whole neighborhood. It was trying to look like one way, and I mean, even went to extremes to try and kick out the Addams Family and stuff. And that's just not life, right? Like eventually someone's going to rebel against that, because even though there's a lot of people who accept it, there's also people who just feel like it's wrong. Why? Because it's so constricting. Look at this. A zebra is eccentric, creative, and visionary. Zebras are the most precious of gems. They are young at heart, well-cultured, and have an undying curiosity about life. Being in the company of a zebra personality is not only a delight, but also opens our minds. Yes. Be prepared. Their potent magic is contagious and may soon find yourself in a faraway land, expanding your worldview while having a blast. Zebras also like to contribute to the global health through environmental or volunteer work. This card may be a hint to pack your bags. When in balance, you're worldly, enthusiastic, and fashion-forward. When out of balance, you're jaded, pouty, and vain. It says to bring into balance an epic adventure or art. Yeah, so I do feel like that's a thing. Like, you're meant to open other people's minds about whatever this is. Whatever it is that you've been harshly judged by, it's like you're actually here to help open people's minds to a different perspective of it. And it's a healthy perspective because it's letting go of that old limiting belief that has been keeping people conforming to a certain system that is rapidly growing constrictive and outdated. It really is, right? So that is what I see here for you today, Pile 1. What a powerful message to come through indeed. So if you felt like this was your message, leave the zebra emoji down below and say, I choose to stand out, letting my differences lead the way for others to follow from their own unique selves. And if it resonated, it would mean so much to me if you were to like, comment, and subscribe below. And if you're interested in supporting the channel further, you'll find everything you need below in the description box. I'd like to take a moment to thank your guides, your spirit messengers, your angel source, and my spirit guides for coming together to give us this truly powerful message today. And until next time, pile number 1, stay human. Bye. Hello, my fellow human. If you were drawn to this dice with the 8th house on it, or perhaps you were called to this piece of sodalite, or maybe you were called to this card during the shuffle, this is going to be a reading on what's hidden that needs to come to light. We're all here sharing this human experience together, and this is a safe space to show up as your highest, most aligned, loving, authentic selves. We do things differently here on this channel, so with that being said, if the message does resonate with you, it'd mean the world to me if you were to like, comment, and subscribe below. Triggering statements may arise on the readings themselves. There's no obligation to force it to fit, while keeping in mind that triggers are a beautiful blueprint for us to deepen our healing journey. I do want to tell you that your time and your energy are a true gift and a blessing today, and I'm honored to be here sharing it with you. And also, really quickly, I don't know if you guys are going to choose this reading or not, but I did want to give a quick shout out to both Cameron and Alex. Thank you so very much. I am so honored to have you guys here, and I'm just truly blessed by what you guys did. So thank you so much. But with that, let's go ahead and hop to it and find out what's hidden that needs to come to light. What's hidden that needs to come to light, source, for pile number 2? So we have the 4th house, Leo energy, and the North Node. So just really heard really loud the word acceptance. So it does feel like acceptance of family. Now, before getting upset, let me get into what it's saying. There's been a lot of different dynamics in your family life and growing up. A lot of ups and downs. And I feel like maybe you're not very close with your family. Or if you see your family, like, it's very shallow and very, I heard the word lethargic that came through. Okay. It just feels like there's not a really good bond between you and anybody in your family. Like, you oftentimes feel like the black sheep or the oddball out or the misfit kid, you know, whatever it is. I do feel like you just have this distance between you and your family, and that's okay. So they're saying we don't have to try to bridge that gap. We don't have to try to fix that, because I feel like you have done a lot to do that. I feel like you have really tried to make sure that they understand where you're coming from, that you have a lot of love and caring for them. And I just feel like there's a lot of varying energies and perceptions that create rifts between you and them. 333 on the clock as I'm saying this. And there's this energy where it's like accepting them as they are. Like, there's no trying to bridge that gap. There's no trying to change them. There's only allowing yourself to move forward on the journey. And that's what they're saying. It's like you're not trying to make more space for them. What you're doing is choosing to make space for yourself. But it's almost as if, like, Okay, so you chose the 8th house. You might have 8th house in Leo. And 8th house in Leo can be connected to having a very kind of a scary father figure in your life, like someone who's very egotistical and very dramatic and it makes life all about them. But it doesn't have to necessarily be your father. It's just, this is something I was doing research on not that long ago. And this could be that you have someone, a mother, father, or just someone in your life, 4:44 on the clock, yeah, in your life that is very, very egotistical and wants to be the center of attention, is very vain, driven by their pride, driven by their ego. Like, nothing they do can be wrong, nothing they say can be wrong or misconstrued, even if they're not clear. And this creates a dynamic where it's like, even when you're trying to have an adult conversation with this person, there's always misunderstandings. And there's this energy where it's like they're trying to force you to always shoulder the misunderstandings because they don't want to take accountability. I'm hearing that song by Lauren Spencer. Is it, why do I have to be the bigger person? Oh, how does it go? It's like, 'cause I was taught that speaking up was talking back. But it's like, there's this part in there where it's like, you know, just for once, I want you to take accountability and responsibility. And because it's like, I'm the one that always does that. And I feel like that, if you check out the song, it's Lauren Spencer, Bigger Person. That's the name of the song, Bigger Person. It's like, why do I have to be the bigger person? And I feel like that's what this has always been. And this doesn't necessarily have to be a parent. This could be a spouse. This could be a sibling. This could be a child. This could be anybody in your life. But it's like, no matter what, you always have to draw the line in the sand and say, I have to be the bigger person. Like, I'm the one that has to say I'm sorry. I'm the one that has to take accountability for it. I'm the one that has to take responsibility for it. And they're saying here that that is not the path that you're meant to walk on. You're meant to be clear about your expression of self. And that it's okay for you to set a solid boundary with this person, regardless of the role that they have in your life. Like, we don't need to just roll over to people, even important people. Like, it's not just our job to just roll over in the sand and be like, oh, just act the way that you want to. And it's been really difficult for you to do this because of the position that they have in your life, which is understandable. But if you never speak up, you're always going to feel stifled when you're around them. And so this is about stepping out of your comfort zone. And part of your path of purpose, part of what's healing for you, is expressing yourself in a much clearer way. So, and again, it doesn't have to be family. The 4th house here, it feels like it could be family. We'll see if the tarot clarifies this a little bit more. But it could be work. It could be, you know, a friend. It could be anybody in your life that is creating this dynamic. But I do feel like they are important to you, or they have a very important role in your life. And yeah, father figures coming in really strongly here. But again, it doesn't have to. It could be a grandfather. It could be an uncle. It could be a masculine energy, which would be a fire sign or an air sign. You know, again, when we are thinking about masculine, it is very energetic focused. It's not necessarily that you are or you aren't. It's just there's a lot of that being in the toxic masculine energy, which is pretty common right now. So yeah, stifled, stuck, suffocated, like a huge energy of feeling pressured into being someone or to acting a certain way. What's hidden that needs to come to light? Yeah, family again, family dynamics, dirty laundry. It's like they're airing out your dirty laundry. They could gossip about you. Interesting. On the bottom of the deck. Yeah, this is about choosing you. Choosing you and your power, your personal power, and recognizing your worth. Let's see what this is. Yeah, having hope, again, in the situation. Not hope for things to work out the way that you envision them in your mind. You know, like, obviously, I feel like many of you would just want, can we just, like, find some even ground, some middle ground, and then just be a family like we always were meant to? But I feel like things working out for you is just recognizing your worth and saying it's okay for me to not see an end result here. Like, it's okay for me to give myself closure, right? And this is something that's often, even the Judgment reverse can talk about realization of something that's unpleasant, right? There's a lack of privacy here. There's problems related to the parent-child relations. There's too much noise. There's too much drama. There's too much going on with this person or these people in your lives. And with the Four of Swords here, we see about being hemmed in, stuck in a repeat cycle, right? There's lack of stability, but it affects our mind. So for this situation to be brought to light, what it's saying is it's almost as if there's a part of you that's giving this person the benefit of the doubt 100% of the time, even though they have repetitive actions. And that's what Source is trying to bring to light. There's no amount of your growth that's ever going to put this person into a mature place. Like, they're always going to come from a very immature mindset, because that's just where they're at. They're not healing. They're not focused on healing. They don't give a darn about healing. They are only worried about maintaining the dynamics that have been set into motion for a long time. But this is about you giving back to yourself. Yeah. Look at, okay. See, here's the thing. It's like not wanting to come to terms with how difficult things are. Not even realizing just how strong you are. They're very wishy-washy, and they want you to be in that wishy-washy energy too. Like, hum, the ho and hums, you know, like humming and ohing and humming your life away. Because they don't want to be alone in that. But this is part of you standing up for yourself. This person or these people, they also keep a sharp, keen eye on you, because they use that to fuel the gossip. They use that to talk about you behind your back. They're mad. They're mad because you recognize that you do have value and that what you talk about means something. And they're mad about that. And we can't change that, pile two. Like, no matter how important this person is to you, like, you can't change the way they see you. If they don't want to see you for who you are, and they have some predetermined idea of who you are, like, that's it. That's going to be that way, and nothing you do will ever change that. And what a burden. What a burden to put on yourself to try to fix the dynamic. My mom always used to tell me growing up, it takes two to tango. No matter what you do in life, it takes two to tango. And this is a tango of a relationship. The problem is that somebody's sitting on the sidelines, hoping that you'll make a big show of it, and then when it's all said and done, they'll come out and they'll take the credit for everything that you did. So the thing is what Source is showing here is, like, it's important to keep things close to your chest. It's important not to reveal too much about yourself. It's important to keep, like, this would be finances, successes, your career, your motives, all of this under wraps. And it's not because they're not worthy of being celebrated. It's because the further you go, the more this person's going to be driven by ego, vanity, and pride, and saying, well, pile two would have never accomplished what they accomplished if it hadn't have been for me. They're only where they're at because of me. And that is a load of dookie. And it's very steamy dookie, let me tell you that. And I'm going to say, because the thing is that they didn't put in the effort. They're not the ones who showed up and turmoiled and worked hard every day to get to where you're going. They didn't do that. They can try to take credit for it, but your work will speak for itself. No matter what that is. Because I feel like whatever you're doing It's like they see the potential of it, but they don't want to honor the potential of it. They don't want to back you up. And this is the other thing that really is sad with this situation, because this person is missing something incredibly vital. If they were to change the way they saw you, if they chose to see you as you are and accept you as you are, you would grab their hand and take them with you to the end. Like, you wouldn't even hesitate. But unfortunately, it's like you have to let go, and letting go is scary. And this is a part of the next chapter in your life is moving into a place of grounded confidence with making the right choices for yourself, regardless of what that is. But knowing that not everybody is going to come on that journey with you, and being okay with that. Even if at one point you wanted them to come on that journey with you. You know, even at one point you were like, I'm going to make sure I take care of this person, or I'm going to make sure that make sure that they're not hurting and things like that. It's almost like, I don't know why this is coming in, but it's like putting someone in an old folks or a retirement home, right? An old folks home or a retirement home. It's not anything that anybody wants. They don't want to have to go through that. But it's like, if you were to take care of them, they would take up all your time, and you both would suffer because of it, right? Like, they would expect you to carry everything for them. They would expect you to do everything for them. And that would take away from what you would need to make sure that you both could survive. That's what this feels like. But in their mind, they don't see it that way. They just see it as your time is being taken away from them, and that's giving them less time to be the center of attention. And so they're so driven by this need to be accepted and to be seen by everyone else, but yet at the same time driven by a fear of not being seen, that they're not doing anything that's actually worthwhile for themselves, and they're putting it on your shoulders. And that's what Source is saying here. It's important for you to honor how you see yourself, and to step forward into a place of certainty that you are indeed incredibly strong, incredibly resilient, incredibly capable, and incredibly magnetic. And this person is always going to be looking at you from this place of jealousy, anger, and hate. And it's even if they say they don't hate you, it's still that fear that's driving them. And hate is such a strong emotion, but it's what I'm feeling right now. It's a really deeply rooted. It's like they've always felt this way about you. Like, there was no changing it, and it's because of the energy that you possess. Like, they want that for themselves, but if they can't have that for themselves, then I'm gonna make sure that I put pile number 2 into a box. I want them to feel stuck. I want them to feel closed off from the world. I don't want them to stand out, because that takes away energy and attention from me. Yeah, your self-worth and your self-value are the #1 priorities right now. Physical security, possessions, material values, and self-worth. The other thing that Source is saying here is that you're manifesting something really, really amazing into your life, and that's why it's so important for you to hold this close to your chest, because this person is going to try and take advantage of that, whatever that is, right? So, like, if you get a sudden promotion or a raise, or you get a surprise bonus or an inheritance from somebody in the family, or you get an incredible job offer that you can't turn down, or, you have a potential love interest come into your life that is absolutely incredible and amazing, that you didn't even knew someone like this existed, right? Whatever it is, it's like, it's going to be out, like, you could have only ever imagined this, and even better than that. And this person is going to do everything in their power to make you feel worthless, so that you don't take that opportunity, even if that is what you were meant to do. No matter the role that they play in your life, this is someone who can't see you winning. They just don't want to see you winning at all. It's also, this is interesting, but if you've ever watched Better Call Saul, it's kind of the way his brother treats him, when he was Jimmy McGill. And his brother tells everyone, I don't hate him, I don't hate him, I don't hate him. But then it comes out when he catches him in a big old lie. It comes out, and he can't take it back anymore. And it's like, it's very clear that he's jealous of his brother, and he wants to be the one that's the center of attention, and he wants to be the one that's revered. But he's not honoring his own self, like his own accomplishments in his life. Either he's so fixated on Jimmy, who later becomes Saul, he's so fixated on him and what he's doing with his life that he's not honoring the fact that he's a renowned lawyer that people respect and that people trust. But because he's so fixated on Jimmy, he ends up losing all that admiration and that respect that he had, you know? Yeah, Spirit has your back. Things are about to change for you. And I feel like this is just seeing it from a higher perspective as well. Like, that's really valuable for you at this time, because it's like you can get caught up in the fact that this person feels this way about you. You can be here in this place of like, oh, well, you know, they deserve theirs and karma's a biznatch and this, that, and the other. And it's like, instead of focusing on that, just focus on where you're going. And focus on the fact that it goes to show so much about your character that if this person made a 180 tomorrow, like a true 180, was genuine with you and loved you and cared about you the way that you'd always hoped that they would, that you would very well take them to where you're going. That's a true testament to your character and how much you forgive and how loving you are. Honor that about yourself, but give that love and that forgiveness and that acceptance to yourself right now. Okay? Yeah, now is a lucky time. There is something big that's around the corner. It's huge. I feel like you're not aware of what it is. Like, you might feel like there's something about to change, but I feel like it's kind of one of those things like, well, I don't know, I've been feeling this for a while, so, you know, maybe it's here, maybe it's not. You're going to be pleasantly surprised. Now, I'm not here to say it's coming tomorrow, and I'm not here to say it's coming next week or next year. I'm just saying that there's something huge that is almost here, and it's going to be at different times for each of you. Envy. I am the same as everybody, but with different challenges. This person is very envious of you. They are jealous. They're green with envy. But right now, it's about coming into trust. I accept my inner voice will always guide me correctly. Trusting that it's okay for you to let go, even if it's uncomfortable. Because I do feel like this is something that's really uncomfortable for you. Like, I don't even feel like this person realizes just how much you care about them. Like, I don't think they understand just how if you could, you would change their life for the better. They're so caught up in the fact that you might do better than they do in this life, or that you might, you know, catch up to them or surpass them or whatever it is. They're so caught up in that they're not seeing you as the person that you are. They're seeing you from their lens and their judgments of you, which is based on their judgments of self. Yeah, Sagittarius, shoot for the stars. A lot of luck. Go big or go home. That's what this feels like. You're about to be catapulted into, that was 22:22 on the clock when I said that. You're about to be catapulted into a new chapter of your life. A beautiful existence is what it feels like. And this person's going to have to watch from the sidelines. They're not going to have access to you like they once did. And I feel like they're going to feel that void for sure. On the bottom, alignment. Yeah, 111. Your thoughts are manifesting rapidly. Trust in divine guidance and stay focused on your goals. This is what Source wants you to know. It's like we're bringing this to light because this is absolutely a very, very disheartening situation. You know, it's like, especially when you love somebody so much, it's like, I just want them to see me. We all have that. We've all had someone like that in our lives. Some it's easier to say goodbye to than it is to others. And this is someone that you care deeply about. You know, it's like someone that you've had around your whole life. And it's like, how do I say goodbye? How do I say goodbye? There's no, what is it? How do I say goodbye to somebody who's been with me my whole damn life? You gave me my name and the color of your eyes. How do I say goodbye? Right? Like, how do I say goodbye to somebody that, you know, taught me how to ride a bike? How do I say goodbye to somebody who taught me how to read, who taught me how to go for my dreams? When I was little and dependent on them, they treated me much differently than they do now. because that was when they can control me. But now that they can't control me, now I'm like dead to them. How do I say goodbye? When I love them a lot. And that's what this feels like. And it doesn't even just have to be like a parent. This could be a spouse even. You know, it's like someone you fell in love with. And it's like, I'm not here to advocate for toxic situations at all. But I do understand that it is incredibly difficult for some of us to end things. It's like everybody says, well, just end it and walk away. Look, from my own experience, I know how hard that can be. But sometimes we have to be so honest with ourselves and recognizing, like, are they truly going to help me get to where I want to go? Or are they going to be an anchor that holds me back? And letting that truth be what guides us to making the next step for ourselves with love and compassion. House 1, individuality, self-image, and your approach to life. You're shining like a bright star. Shine bright like a diamond. Yeah, you're shining like a diamond in the sky right now. And it's really irritating this person's inner demons. Like, they thought that they were the bee's knees. But they are very pale in comparison to you. No one even notices them when you're around. And it really irks them. Heart of Fortune, tap into your talent. So this could be a part of your fortune. This is something that is very, very lucky for you, but it's also something because of what you've worked hard for. So it's like your hard work now turning into good luck. That's what this feels like. Shift, 565. Take a look at your life and see what areas need to be shifted to bring more joy. Take the time to reassess your priorities and create a plan for yourself. So shifting your focus, you know, like maybe you've been having too much focus on this person, where they're at, what they're doing, how they're treating you, how they're acting like. And that's what they want. They want the focus on them. That's what this person loves. They love to be the center of attention, whether that's good or bad. They don't care about the type of attention that they're receiving. They just want to be the center of attention because that makes them feel wanted. It makes them feel good. And this is about letting that go and saying, let me see this from a higher perspective. This person's really envious because you're taking the spotlight, but are you really taking the spotlight, or is it just your time to shine? This person had their opportunity to do that for themselves, but they didn't make a change for themselves to do so. They could even still make a change now, but they're so stuck in this place of envy that they're not making a change for themselves. So it's time for you to focus on self, okay? So we're going to take a look at this card. I'm going to read this from the book and see what it says. Yeah, the crocodile. Ooh, the crocodilio. The cocodrillo. Crocodile. I just passed it. All right. Yeah, this makes so much sense. Resting, submerging, collecting energy, and cooling off. The crocodile reminds us to take a step back from the external world and turn inward. Now is not the time for decisions, action, or discussion. The crocodile's mantra is wait. This doesn't mean lying around hoping life's challenges will disappear. Crocodile is much smarter than that. It means intentionally withdrawing, gathering our awareness, observing and building energy. Fill up the vital reserves so that your next move comes from a place of power and wisdom, not out of fear. It says, when in balance, you're wise, patient, and a silent powerhouse, keeping things close to your chest. That's what I was getting from the beginning of this reading. When out of balance, you feel stuck or lashes out, right? And I do see that energy with this person too. You might lash out because this person keeps you in a stuck cycle. Okay, that's why it's time for you to draw in and trust your intuition on this. To bring into balance, rest, and the Makarasana pose. I'm not sure what that is. It must be a mantra of some sort. Or, no, I bet you that's crocodile pose. I've never actually heard the Sanskrit name for the crocodile pose, but that's when you lay on your stomach, you put your hands under your forehead, and then you lift up one leg and then switch to the other side, right? But you just lay on your stomach and let yourself relax. So this is about drawing within and trusting your intuition right now, because that's what's going to help you through this situation. Your love is vast. Your love is profound, amazing, and beautiful. But not everybody is deserving of that infinite well of love that you have. And I wish I could say that they were, but unfortunately there are people who are going to take advantage of you because of that. And you've learned a lot of valuable lessons, but it's like almost like this is the hard one to let go of, because this is the one that's closest, the deepest wound, right? The first cut. Is that a Jewel song? The first cut is the deepest, right? And this is the deepest wound. But it's realizing that it's your time to shine, and no one can stop that if you don't let them. So choose yourself this time around, okay? So this is what I see for you here, pile number 2. If you felt like this was your reading, leave the little eagle emoji down below and say, by seeing things from a perspective of unconditional love, I'm allowed to accept others as they are, knowing that it need not deter me from my own path. And if it resonated, it would mean so much to me if you were to like, comment, and subscribe below. And if you're interested in supporting the channel further, you'll find everything you need in the description box. I'd like to take a moment to thank your guides, your spirit messengers, your angel source, and my spirit guides for coming together to give us this message today. And until next time, pile number 2, stay human. Bye. Hello, my fellow human. If you were drawn to this dice with the 7th house on it, or perhaps you were drawn to this piece of garnet, or maybe you were drawn to this card during the shuffle, this is going to be a reading on what's hidden that needs to come to light. We're all here sharing this human experience together, and this is a safe space to show up as your highest, most aligned, loving, authentic self. I do things differently here on this channel, so with that being said, if the message does resonate with you, it would mean the world to me if you're to like, comment, and subscribe below. Triggering statements may arise on the readings themselves. There's no obligation to force it to fit, while keeping in mind that triggers are a beautiful blueprint for us to deepen our healing journey. Your time and your energy are a true gift and a blessing today. I'm honored to have you here. Also, really quickly, I would like to give a shout out to both Cameron and Alex. I just want to say thank you so much for what you did. I'm truly blessed to be sharing this space with you, and I hope you both know that I'm deeply grateful for you. All right, so let's go ahead and hop to your reading today and find out what's hidden that needs to come to light, pile 3. What's hidden that needs to come to light, pile 3? Source, what would you like to share with us today? What's hidden that needs to come to light? First house, Capricorn. Oh, and that was Pluto. You've been working on yourself a lot, pile number 3. This has been the biggest thing for you. I feel like it's just really realigning your mental health, your physical health, your emotional health. Like, all these things have been very important for you. Taking that step into being emotionally grounded while also knowing how to take intuitive action for yourself. But there's something here specifically about the way that you express yourself that you've really been working on, something you've been really focused on. So it could just be like saying no, right? Not that that's not huge. That's a huge thing to have, but it could be saying no. It could be setting a boundary. It could be telling people, you know, that this just isn't working for me. I have to move on for myself. I have to take care of myself. But I do feel like there's like being this space that's made for yourself where you're like, no, my self-care, my self-love, and my self-respect are the most important things here. That's giving you a sense of empowerment, and that's giving you a sense of well-being as well. And it's something that you've been deeply, deeply invested in for quite a while. And I feel like there's a shift that's happening, and it's a very subtle shift, right? But it feels subtle just simply because there's been so much change. Like, you've had massive moments where you felt the shift and it hit you like a lightning bolt, right? But this is a shift that's coming in a little bit less intrusive. And it's where I feel like you're going to become very succinct and blunt and direct in how you approach people. And that's no matter who they are. Like, it's something where you're recognizing that things are going awry, or that things are not leading down a constructive path, and you stop it in its tracks. Like, you're not waiting for it to come back around. You're not waiting for someone to finally make their point. Like, you're asking, what is this? What's happening? Where are we going with this? What's unfolding? Because this is become a very long-winded conversation when it seems like you're trying to ask me something or you're trying to tell me something. So get to the point. Like, and that feels cold, right? It does. It feels cold, but it's not. It's just necessary. And it feels like that's the energy that you're in right now. It's this necessary place where you've come, where it's like, I'm just tired of being stuck in pointless conversations. I'm tired of being stuck when people don't even know what they want to say to me. I'm tired of trying to maintain this composure when someone is just clearly wasting my time. Like, do you have a reason and a purpose for telling me this? Do you have a reason to talk to me? And it's not from an unkind place. Like, but I do feel like people take it wrong because they're like, oh, well, that was rude, pile 3. But it's just because I feel like in your past, you have, you know, when people stick around and it's like someone just keeps talking because you're standing there, not because they're saying anything worth of value. They're just talking to hear themselves talk because someone's actually listening to me. Oh my gosh, pile 3 standing here and listening to me. I can't believe that they haven't said goodbye. And so this is like feeling the need to say goodbye, or feeling the need to cut things short, or feeling the need to say, this is enough. But it's how you're expressing yourself is changing, and you're coming off as incredibly blunt. And at times even pessimistic, but again, this is how people are going to be seeing you. It's not the truth of where you're at, right? And even though that's not what this reading was about, it's just interesting that Source is bringing it up, because I do feel like you're going to hear people say things back to you like, well, you didn't have to be so rude about it. And I feel like you're just going to be very practical in saying, it's not about being rude. It's the fact that my time is my money, and I cannot just be sitting here wasting it while you try to figure out what point it is that you're getting to. So when you come to me, I need you to be direct. And if you can't, then just know that that's going to be a reason as to why I don't invite you back into my life. You can either be respectful of how I feel, or you can take it personal. Either way, it doesn't affect me. And it's not going to change the point to where I've come, because I've recognized that my time is my time, and it's precious, and it's something that people spend freely, and that spending it freely is something that I'll never get back. And I want to make my time count, and I want to make my time matter, and that's what I'm doing. And so that's the transformation, but this feels very, very, very direct, and it feels like there's a lot of people who are going to be jealous about you stepping up into this very strong energy. And the people who are going to say things about it are the very ones that are jealous about it. And Source is saying, don't worry about it. They're going to bite back. But this transformation is also bringing you to a state of self-mastery. And I feel like you're coming to the place where you just don't give a gosh darn hoot anymore how people observe you. Yeah. Going from a place where you were sabotaging yourself into a place of being very confident, very grounded, capable of taking action for yourself, very foundational, very sure of yourself, but learning from past situations here, past mistakes. Let's find out some more about this. So what's hidden that needs to come to light? I feel like this is going to surprise even you. So, you know, it's like there's going to be a moment where this arises and you're just going to say it. It's almost as if you're going to be saying words that you weren't even thinking. Like, they're just going to come out. And they're not heartless, but it's just going to come out. And you're going to hear your tone, and you're going to hear like, whoa, like, that's not usually who I am. But also when it happens, you're, oh, thank you. Thank you so much, because I really needed to move on with my life right now. And you're seeing a new side of yourself. That's what this feels like. It's like how you're expressing yourself, how you're showing up. What's hidden that needs to come to light, pile 3? Yeah, it's like from people who are smooth talkers, from people who talk a lot, from people who just are, they talk just for the sake of hearing themselves talk, and they don't care about how that affects others. Yeah. What's hidden that's coming to light? You're going to be very clear about the people who actually want to have you around versus the people who are just begging for someone to fill space. So you're recognizing the difference in people on a very subtle level. This is an energetic level. And walking away unscathed. Like, no matter how you show up, and again, this is not the green light to just be mean to people. That's not what this is. And I don't feel like you would do that, but I feel like I need to say it for someone out there. This is not the green light to just treat people however. What this is saying is that you become rooted in your sense of self-worth. And from that, you understand that not everybody gets it. Not everybody gets that taking care of ourselves is important. Not everybody gets that building something for ourselves is important. Most people are just kind of wandering and floundering around in life, and that's not you anymore, and you're not going to do that anymore. Yeah. You know what's interesting about this too is like the fact that people are going to respect you so much more, even the ones that are saying like, oh, well, that was rude. Like, why would you say that? Why would you act like that? I couldn't believe you just came out and said it like that. But it's like the people who are in that energy are actually going to respect you a whole lot more than what they did when they could just waste your time, whatever. And they're going to start being very succinct when they talk to you. But these are people who at one point were very greedy. Like, they really loved being able to waste your time. Yeah, because they didn't think that you were going to ever make a decision for yourself. Right? That you were just being cautious, or like you didn't want them to hurt their feelings to be hurt. And maybe that was the truth. Like, you didn't want to hurt their feelings. But now it's like, I cannot save everybody's feelings. I can't. And so the shift is happening. And the change, it feels very subtle. Yeah. And it has to do with what has created a lot of emotional unrest. Now you're just saying, nope, no, no. No, okay, we can go and talk, but no to you and no to you. Like, this is not gonna be where people are just coming up to you all the time. And like, I feel like people share their stories with you. And now you're giving off this energy where it's like, if you talk to me, it needs to be something important. So I do feel like there's the shift where now people aren't just going to come up to you and share stories just for the sake of sharing stories. Because you're not just trying to fill space in someone's life anymore. Like, you're taking yourself very seriously. You're loving yourself. You're admiring yourself. You're appreciating yourself. And more importantly, you're respecting yourself. With the Two of Cups, yeah, I can talk about love. But the Two of Cups is a much deeper card than that. Like, this is not the Six of Cups, which talks about soulmate love, right? Someone coming in. The Two of Cups can be romantic love that's coming in, but it can also talk about a deepening of understanding ourselves. Seeing our soul, seeing our heart, seeing ourselves as a mirrored reflection of Source, right? Recognizing that without the hard times that we went through, we would never be able to appreciate the good times for our emotional stability as it is. Especially with the Four of Coins here on the bottom of the deck, this is really pointing towards emotional stability, emotional understanding, and knowing that, like, when I'm tired, I can tell people I'm tired. And if they're trying to drag my time out or waste it, that it's okay for me to walk away and not feel guilty about it. I told them I was tired, you know? This has come up so much, but you might be the one that does the Irish goodbyes. And if you don't know, that's okay. But that's come up so much in a couple of my readings here lately. And so this is like an extension of that same kind of energy where it's like, you just, nope, bye. I can't do this. In fact, it might have gotten to the point where you just don't say goodbye anymore, because have you ever been at a party? I'm sure you totally understand this, but you go to a party, you go to a friend's house, you go to family's house, you're like, oh, I gotta go. And then they come up and they're like, oh, wait, but I forgot to tell you this other story. And it's like, oh my gosh, I've been here for 2 hours. You couldn't have told me this story in this 2 hours? So then you listen to the story and you're like, okay, you know, I'm glad you told me that. Great. I gotta go. And then, oh, wait. And every time you say goodbye, like it's, oh, wait, you know, and so that's, it feels like now you're like, look, no, you can tell me next time. If it's that important, text it to me. Call me later. I gotta go. I got stuff to do. Like you're not gonna let them get into it. And even if they start to get into it, you're gonna be like, I said goodbye. I'll see you next time. And you're gonna start heading for the door, even if they're still talking. Like you're not just gonna sit around and wait for them to finish their story anymore. And that's what it feels like. This is you cutting it off at the head, right? Where it's like it's like you had time to tell me and we were sitting in silence and something came up and I gotta go. Like you can't just keep me here because you don't want to be alone or because you want someone to fill this space. That's not who I am. Yeah, it feels like this is a lot of self-respect here, but it's a very subtle shift and it's empowering yourself. And it feels like empowering yourself in a way where you no longer feel guilty for being honest about how you feel, because this is something you really struggled with before with Saturn here, feeling restricted, experiencing struggle, learning hard work and patience. Yeah. And this doesn't have to just be about expressing yourself. This could be about you creating a dream or you know, changing your work environment or being honest in your work environment. It's like this is really about you respecting yourself. And that's what has been hidden before. It's like easier for you to respect others over yourself. And that's what's shifting and coming into the light, is now respecting yourself over others. And it's not that you're not respecting others. It's just that respecting self comes first, and it will continue to come first after this. Yeah, on the bottom we have Libra, balance, right? Finding that balance and that harmony. We have consideration, fairness, and harmony. Like I said, I don't feel like you're mean about it. Like I don't feel like you're coming in and tearing people up, being like, you are absolutely ridiculous. How could you waste my time? You're just being like, look, I understand that you want to tell me this, but I have to go, and I cannot make an exception for your story. And people who before they were so used to getting you your time and your energy without much effort, they're either going to step up or they're going to step off. And I feel like a lot of them are going to step up. There are going to be people who step off, and that's fine. Let them step off. But they're going to respect you more because it's like, oh, you know, pile 3's energy is precious and we do want to keep them around, but we also have to respect their time and space too. Yeah, transformation is beautiful with number 11 here. A very spiritual transformation. You're being seen as this very beautiful, expressive person. It's like before, if I don't say anything bad, then I don't give people a reason to hate me. And now it's realizing that all I was doing was stifling myself, putting myself in a prison. And you're not doing that anymore. You're really allowing yourself to express what it is that's on your mind and what's on your heart and what it is that you're feeling in this moment, and not being afraid of that. Whoa. Okay, I guess you're getting 2 of these. So we have Uranus. Yeah, expect miracles. So things are going to start shifting for you all over because of that. Like it's not just going to be with people not wasting your time. Like you're going to see things start really shifting because of this self-respect that you worked so hard to come towards. 9th house, expand your point of view. So a spiritual shift with the 9th house, right? Spiritually growing and expanding. What's hidden that's coming to light for pile 3 source? Thank you. Happiness. I'm aware that being happy means I'm on the right path. You might have resonated with one of the other piles. Or you might have been called to one of the other piles. You're more than welcome to watch them both. It's never a requirement though. And also for those of you that may have stuck it out with me for all 3 piles, leave a purple heart down below. That's part of my Purple Heart Club. And just know that I really do appreciate anybody who stays on these readings with me. It means the world that you're here. But yeah, I just feel like this is also you finding happiness in being able to speak something that you struggled so hard speaking at some point on your journey. Like, you know, if you felt like, if I tell people how I truly feel, like they're going to hate me, from going from that to being able to telling people how you truly feel and realizing that it's a very freeing experience, That's what this feels like. What's hidden that's coming to light, pile 3. Empowerment. Yeah, empowering yourself. 898, stand in your power and embrace your true potential with confidence. Being very, very empowered here. Letting go of what was difficult. Trusting yourself. Balance. Yeah, again, balance. We have a lot of repeat messages here with the cards. 222. Maintain harmony and balance in your life to manifest your desires. Realizing that over-giving to people sometimes is something that we don't realize we're doing. Like, we're giving so much to others and not giving enough to ourselves. And we do ourselves the greatest disservice because of that. And so it's finding that balance in your life. Like, where can you give to others but still give to yourself? Life is a mystery. Number 8. Healing of karmic wounds. Old patterns. Stepping into a period of unknown. So what's next is going to be a mystery because it's a new chapter in your life. Know your worth. Wow, I cannot make this up. Like, we have 8 and then 54, which is 9. Closing a chapter. Yeah, stepping into a new beginning. Knowing your worth. Descendant. 2 is better than 1. I feel like you're going to have a contract that you sign soon with someone who recognizes this as a talent or a skill that is going to really move you and them ahead in the company. Not that they're going to use you, but that they see that there's a lot of value in the way that you're showing up this way, or that you have a lot of value to add to a company, or they want to make an agreement with you. That's what this feels like. Perseverance. I know that I can do whatever I set my mind to. Yeah, you've overcome. Your resolve is unshakable at this point. You've overcome a lot. Wow, you're yeah, look at how fast you're reading. Your reading went by so fast. But that's what I feel like you're at this point where it's like, get to the point and let's go. You know, it's like you'll stick around when it matters. Well, I feel like most of you are just in this place of like, let's go. Like, we need to get to the point of what this means and move on from there. And that's the shift. That's where it's happening. And that's what's coming to light, is you're going to see that. You're going to see that play out more and more. So I'm just going to go, we're going to get to it. Let's take a look at your card. I'm going to read this from the book and see what it says. Dragonfly, transcendence. That's what I just heard so loudly, and turning that over, transcendence. All right. So Dragonfly says, Master of Light, illusion in the mind. Yeah. The dragonfly is an ancient and ethereal creature that awakens a sense of wonder and awe. The dragonfly is a symbol of the mind, as it is always moving, shifting, shimmering, and changing. When the dragonfly card appears, it's worth considering the quality of your mind and perception. Are they restless or still, dreamlike or crystal clear? The situation at hand may be different than it appears at first glance. The dragonfly reminds us to calm the mind so the light of wisdom can shine through. When in balance, you see clearly, you're joyful and magical. When out of balance, you can't concentrate or busy mind. To bring into balance, focus on the breath. And I feel like that's the thing. It's like you're now seeing the illusions of people, the people who are time wasters, the people who don't have anything. And this sounds terrible, but it's like, it's the truth. It's like, who don't have anything important to say, or who just share the same things with you every time you see them. They never have anything new to talk about, or they only want to talk about the same thing over and over again. It's like, well, it's fun for a while. Eventually, it's overstayed its welcome. And you've outgrown that. Transcendence, right? A master of light. You have risen above this place of pointless small talk. And now you're coming into a place where it's like, get to the point so we can move on. It's not that you won't have a really deep conversation with someone. You absolutely will. But at the same time, you're recognizing when it matters to stick around and when it's also just something that's not worth it. And that's what's coming to light. And I feel like this is going to be something that's so subtle that one day you wake up and you're like, whoa, I just know that I'm different. But it's a powerful place to be at. This is a huge transformation for you. Wow. So this is what I see here for you today, pile number 3. I'm going to go ahead and leave it. But if you felt like this was your reading, is there a dragonfly emoji? I don't know. If there's a dragonfly emoji, leave the dragonfly emoji. If not, leave the little skunk emoji down below and say, by choosing... No, let me start over. By seeing my time as valuable, I am able to see through the illusions of others while taking steps towards my ultimate goals quickly and efficiently. And if it resonated, it would mean so much to me if you're to like, comment, and subscribe below. And if you're interested in supporting the channel further, you'll find everything you need in the description box. So I'd like to take a moment to thank your guides, your spirit messengers, your angel source, and my spirit guides for coming together to give us this message today. And until next time, pile number 3, stay human. Bye.